When it comes to the NBA draft, the first round gets a large majority of the attention, and rightfully so. Typically, the top talent in the class is getting picked first for obvious reasons, and there's a much higher chance of adding someone capable of becoming a high-level contributor in the first round than the second round. However, there are always a few guys that slip through the cracks and become outstanding players at the NBA level despite being picked in the second round and starting their careers with non-guaranteed contracts, which brings us to the topic of today's video. Today, we'll be taking a look at 5 players that were selected in the second round of the 2019 NBA Draft that I believe will not only stick around in the league for a while, but develop into high-level contributors for the teams that took a chance on them. Also, let me just say now that Bol Bol will not be in this video because of the fact that I discussed him a good amount in my last video, so if you want to hear my thoughts on him, you can check that out. Before we start though, make sure to subscribe to the channel as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first second round pick from this draft that I am very high on is Talon Horton Tucker out of Iowa State, who was selected 46th overall by the Los Angeles Lakers. Horton Tucker, in my honest opinion, has some of the highest upside in the entire draft, not just amongst the second rounders, but first rounders as well. To start, he was the second youngest player in the draft at only 18 years old, and won't even turn 19 until the season gets underway. He was playing a good amount of the college basketball season last year at only 17 years old, which is ridiculously young for someone at this level and younger than a good amount of high school seniors. On top of his youth, his physical tools are absurd, standing at 6'4" with a whopping 7' 1" wingspan, which is one of the largest wingspans for someone at his height the NBA has ever seen. Plus, he's incredibly strong, and the combination of all of this makes him an incredibly intriguing defensive prospect that will more than likely be able to guard multiple positions at a high level once he matures and gets a better feel for the game, which naturally happens as players get older and adjust to the NBA. The offensive end is where he needs the most work, being pretty raw with his skills and struggling with efficiency in college, which is probably why he slid to the second round in the first place. But again, because of how young he is, there is still plenty of time for him to develop. With the Lakers being in a bit of a money crunch, trying to add all-star talent to their extremely thin roster, they will need inexpensive rotation players to fill out the lineup, and Horton Tucker may not necessarily be ready to contribute from day one, but a few years down the line, there's a good chance that he becomes a major gem from this draft. The next second round pick that I want to discuss as someone with a very good chance of becoming a highly productive player down the line is Nicholas Claxton out of Georgia, who got selected with the first pick of the second round at number 31 by the Brooklyn Nets. Claxton played 2 years at Georgia, and in his sophomore season had a big breakout year compared to his non-noteworthy freshman season. He had a bigger role on the team, got more minutes, and saw his production make very promising improvements across the board. The part of his game that really stands out most as an NBA skill, though, is his defensive versatility. In today's league, big men are tasked with switching onto perimeter players more than ever, especially at the rate at which the pick and roll is being utilized, and teams are now leaning more towards switching everything. We've seen some of the top rim protectors get exposed in big games, such as Rudy Gobert, who is now a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year because of his rim protection, but because he struggles to defend the perimeter, he struggles mightily in the playoffs to impact games. Claxton has shown that he's not only capable of doing this, but excelling at it, and the fact that he's about 6'11" with a 7' 2" wingspan capable of doing so is an amazing trait to have today. He's also a nice athlete with nice bounce in his game, but his overall offensive skills do need some work, plus he's pretty skinny for a big man. Those two things are why he fell into the second round in the first place, but if he can put on some weight over the years and really hone his defensive craft, then I see him as someone capable of becoming a big-time player in any playoff rotation. Next up on this list of second rounders that I believe will become highly productive is Carson Edwards out of Purdue, who got taken 33rd overall by the Boston Celtics. Edwards was one of the most productive players in all of college basketball this past season, putting up a tremendous 24 points per game. On top of that, he really exploded in March Madness, having dropped 42 points on 2 separate occasions, including in the Elite Eight against the eventual national champion Virginia team. Edwards' most notable NBA skill is that, to put it simply, he gets buckets. He's an amazing shot creator, especially off the dribble, and is confident from pulling up from anywhere. When he catches fire, there's almost no stopping him, and he can put up a ton of points in a hurry. He's confident, he's aggressive, and he's always ready to attack the defense and put pressure on them. He may be slightly undersized for a guard in the NBA, but he's incredibly strong both in his upper and lower body, and competes hard on defense, so he shouldn't really be a liability on that end by any means. In fact, his fellow rookie teammate Grant Williams seems to think that he can switch onto some power forwards on defense because of how strong he is, which is still yet to be seen, but is certainly encouraging nonetheless. The biggest area he'll need to improve is in shot selection, because his efficiency was pretty subpar last year and is one of the main reasons he was a second-round pick in the first place, but hopefully under Brad Stevens' guidance, he'll be able to stay more under control and pick his spots in a much smarter way. The next second rounder up on this list is Jordan Bone out of Tennessee, who got selected 57th overall by the Detroit Pistons. Bone had a very solid year this year at Tennessee, running the offense of a team that made it to the Sweet 16. He didn't necessarily get much of the attention on the team though, as he was playing alongside Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield, who were 2 of the best college players in the country last year. But during the offseason, at the draft combine, and during team workouts, he really started to stand out. He was notably quick in college, don't get me wrong, but when it came to actually putting that speed to the test, he knocked it completely out of the park. In basically every speed and agility drill at the NBA Combine, Bone finished in first place, and when you combine that with the fact that he also has a vertical leap measured in at 42 inches, it shows that he's a phenomenal athlete with elite explosiveness. Along with these physical traits, he's also a very smart playmaker for a point guard, and averaged about 7 assists per game last year, which is a pretty good number for a college point guard. He beats defenders off the dribble, forces them to collapse, and does a very good job finding the open man to set them up for easy looks. His jump shot is only fairly mediocre, and he probably won't be anything more than an average defender, but because of his quickness and IQ at the position, I like his chances of not only earning a spot in a rotation, but eventually becoming a valuable contributor. Finally, the 5th and final player on this list is Eric Paschall out of Villanova, who got drafted 41st overall by the Golden State Warriors. This upcoming season feels like the first time in so long that the Warriors won't be running the league because of injuries suffered by Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. With that being said, they will probably be more likely to give some younger, inexperienced players some playing time in order to develop the players around Curry and Draymond, and Paschall will be one of those players. Paschall is a jack-of-all-trades forward that can defend multiple positions, shoot threes, finish well at the basket, and overpower weaker matchups with his strength. He's been compared to Draymond Green on occasion while coming up, and while he still has a ways to go in that regard, who else would be better to teach someone like that than Green himself? While at Villanova, he helped them win the 2018 national championship and played a big role in quite a few of their wins during that run. He performs well in big games, and when you're on the Warriors, you tend to play in quite a bit of those. Plus, he's the perfect player to slide into small ball lineups because he can battle with bigs and go out on the perimeter and stick with wings. Overall, he does so many of the little things that contenders love and should become a valuable contributor to the next edition of the Golden State Warriors for years to come. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.